Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Good Morning Education Show. My name is Rotimi Itaya, and it's such a pleasure to be here this morning. And we are streaming from Lagos, Nigeria to West Africa, Africa, and the entire world. This is show. Tell someone that the Good Morning Education Show is here. You can join us Mondays to Fridays, 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. West African time, and the weekend special also. You can catch us up on the weekend special, which is actually between 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. West African time, and then on Sunday, 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. West African time. Such a pleasure to be here. I like we always say on the show, it's always a great morning on the Good Morning Education Show. If you're joining us for the first time, do let us know where you're joining from, where you're streaming from, where you're connecting from. It's going to be a great time on the show. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And on the show this morning, we will be talking about a very interesting conversation. And then we will treat the headlines first. Headlines. After that, we will go straight to the news. The first headline that we'll be talking about is Education Help Children Develop Positive Skills, says Bridge. Now, this is coming from the Bridge, and quite interesting to note, to discover. This is this is something that we know the Bridge for. The Bridge is always an advocate of good education and quality education, and as it is, this is the conversation that we're having. And let me just give you a bit of that. Bridge Academy has said education will assist humans to withstand and overcome the rigors of life challenges. This statement was by the organization said they have resolved to keep providing quality education through the 46 nursery and primary schools established across Lagos and Osun State. Quality education helps individuals transcend limitation, and this is what we're hearing from the Bridge. This is what we're hearing from the Bridge, and it's also saying that it's important for us to know that the level of the world, the quality of the world we see, is actually the quality of education that we give, and that's the truth about it. And I would say that a major congratulations to the Bridge for making this strides and for their consistency as well. And we want to appreciate them, we want to thank them, and we want to also encourage the Bridge Academy and other people as well to take on this challenge and do something about their path. That's what I feel, that's what I believe. And I believe that it will definitely, be a great one altogether. So, yeah, we wish them all the best. So let's talk about another headline on the same, that these people get the attention they need and the attention that they to be poor. The last day to be poor. I'm sure that several things will come to mind. People see a topic like this, definitely several things will come to mind, definitely. Um, but yeah, it is what it is. It is what it is. So we excited that a lot of people have followed us since we started this financial literacy series. And then we want to cap it up with this last topic on the series, which is the last day to be poor. And I know several things probably will be running in people's mind. What exactly do we mean by the last day to be poor? I think we mean the exact thing that you're thinking about. You know, I haven't said all that we've said during the financial literacy series. It all boils down to the point where you and I have to set the time. We have to make that decision that, look, there has to be a time where things have to shift. And that's the concept of having a verdict. That's the concept of having a quick notice. That's the concept of having an announced statement. And you're saying that, look, this is the last day. It's the last day of being poor. Definitely. And the last day to be poor is much more than one one feeling angry with oneself and one's situation is not comfortable. No, it actually comes from a place where you and I have gotten to move away from feelings, state of desire to resolution. And I don't mean New Year resolution. What I simply means is it's you being able to put almost pen to paper and capture your resolve that says, this indeed is the last day you choose to be poor. And a lot of people out there might need to figure out how on earth can they unravel this mystery, because most people hold on to new things, new desires, new information with their current reality, their same reality. There has to be a shift. Listening to what financial literacy is about, the goal behind it, the ability to focus on capacity to earn. Then we talked about investments. We talked about a lot of things. I think that that day that you are able to come to terms to turning things around, to making modification and changes, the day you're able to be, the day you're able to point out that this is the path you've chosen, and this is how you're going to get towards getting something meaningful out of that path. Honestly, trust me, that is the day, the last day to be poor. And you know, it's a conversation that can spin on different angles. And I'd like to use that opportunity to welcome Dr. Derisola this morning. It's a blue morning this Friday morning. How are you today?
Good morning, I'm fine, and you?
I'm very well. Would you believe that I'm putting on a blue shirt as well? All right. And congratulations on your ambassadorship and all those stuff that you posted. I'm still watching in 3D. So yeah. So we're talking about the last day to be poor. We want to end the financial literacy series with this. And I know that you have a lot to say on this concept. Having listened to the day one, day two, having talked about several things on getting people to take their life on their terms and make a difference for themselves, especially financially. Um, how would you describe the last day to be poor?
I would say the last day to be poor to me means the day you decide that you need to give, and I'm talking about as in when you want to build wealth, you need to give a lot of yourself. You need to throw yourself into the unlearning and relearning mode before you can start to, you need to dig deep, dig down before you can start building up. Because I always say poverty is a state of the mind.
Mm.
And it's I am trying to choose my words because some people have, some people will accuse you that it's because you are privileged and all. So I try to actually see things from people's perspective. But then I was reading a story of a lady yesterday on LinkedIn who became a millionaire at 19 and from a very humble background with practical steps on what she did and all that. She basically started developing content from like writing content, working on Upwork and all that. But what made her to decide was the fact that the last day to be poor was the fact that her uncle, who initially started sponsoring her to the university, said he couldn't afford it anymore. And she told herself, this is the last day to be poor. Like, it was just a decision. Like, I was going to decide that I would not be poor anymore. That what is in my hands that I can give somebody to give me money. So for me, I think it is very, very, very important that first we decide. And in making decisions, I do this thing in my classroom at the university. I'll say, I don't care why you are in my classroom, but you have to have a reason. And it doesn't have to be every other person's reason. I told them the only reason I probably wasn't feeling at the university at the initial stage was because I had a younger sister who was just a year younger than me. So it's in my mind, she could never meet up with me in class. So amongst my nonsense that maybe, the youthful nonsense, you don't want to be in school and everything, one thing was sure there that kept me going, that made sure that I was not going to repeat a class, was my younger sister. That it may sound fun to another person, but it was enough motivation for me not to repeat or not to fail. Like, because it was constantly there that if you repeat one class, you and this girl be in the same place, right? So and that is why at the onboarding, I typically onboard my student, like every time I'm like taking taking non-new student in the session, I give them post-it notes. I give them, I said, write it. Is it that auntie that is on your street that is saying, you've entered school late or whatever? It might be somebody that is not even of importance to you, but you want to show. Is it that father that thought you were a girl child and you wouldn't amount to anything? People, I say there is a way that, especially when you're trying to show someone something that did something to you, that is, as I always tell people, that take your negativity and channel it, use it to build. When people tell me you cannot do this stuff, it's more like I come in my mind, I'm like, yeah, I'm coming back. I will show you. So instead of me sitting down and eating and saying, you said this to me, blah, 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 I take your supposedly negative words and say, I'm going to show you. Like I always say, success is the biggest revenge. Wealth, as in, is the biggest revenge you can have on whoever it is that is looking down on you. And that thing, it starts from your mind. The same way I would say, oh, somebody said something to me and I'm taking it positively, is someone that will say, we continue to ruminate. How can you tell me something like that? I know I'm a cheater that doesn't have money. All those kind of things. So when people say negative things to you, for me, I would say, if somebody tells you you're a poor teacher, how much can a teacher make and everything like that, that is your time to take that comment and use it to build. Use it to be your use it as your determination. And that's what I say, poverty is a state of the mind. The day you decide that I am going to break free of poverty without having anything to start with, is the day that your wealth starts. And I always talk about that. I don't say what I have not probably done. And I always, from the very word go, when I started my fashion business, no one was going to give me money. Like they are sending me to the University of Lagos to study. So who was going to give me money to go and, like it's at that time, it was like you finish school, you want to go and learn how to be a tailor. It wasn't going to go down well, right? So I knew. So I went to meet my neighbor who had the skill. And that is where I'm driving at. Like I said, you will have to give something. And most often than not, it is always knowledge. You have to find where you can find knowledge.
Hello?
You have to find where you can find knowledge. That is always a starting point. If you have to pay for it, if you have to learn a skill on credits, which is what I did, I learned a skill on credits. I went to meet my neighbor. I said, I want to learn how to, sew. She was like, auntie, and, you, my landlord picking, you want to, all those kind of things. You want to learn after going to Unilag in quotes then, like, babe, you want to come and learn tailor. I had to keep psyching this woman. Even if I didn't know I didn't have money to pay her. I psyched her until one day I just went to her shop. She said, you come greet me. I said, I did not come and greet you. I came to learn work. That was shortly before my NYSC. I mean, shortly after my NYSC, rather. I finished serving in February. That was March. Even if I knew I was going to go and do my master's and PhD, so there was a plan, but I needed that time because I needed to start making money. Masters was not going to make me money. I knew that for sure. So I needed a source of income. And that was something that I really liked to do as at the time. I finished learning. And I'm telling you that in less than 1 year, my boss was coming back to me to come and learn new things. And it was after I'd learned, I started making money from it. I went to pay her my apprenticeship money and all those things. So I built that thing from nothing, like nothing. I did not have not even money to pay to learn the skill. And that it was just a question of my mind, knowing where to start from. I needed to acquire the skill. When I acquired the skill, the first one I paid, that was after I finished learning the distance. The first money I made from someone, I paid that 10,000 to pay for form. I did not even pay for form. Those forms that they will say few form and 10,000. I did not even pay for form. So the first I made was to pay for form that I had learned. So when people tell me, I would say, go and learn on credit and make sure you pay the person when you have the money. But for you to say, oh, it's easy for you to say, I say you're a teacher, you already have some form of knowledge. It means the thing you need to learn is how to package that knowledge, and go and pay to learn how to package your knowledge. I paid, as at maybe 2-3 years ago, I paid maybe $800 to learn. I already had the knowledge, but I knew I needed to learn how to package the knowledge. I borrowed the money from my sister as at then. I didn't have money because I'd invested my money in building website as at the time. And that cost was going to go to $2,000. And I wanted to pay the $800. I paid $800 as at then. So when people tell me, and I remember I paid my sister the money across 3 months. So when people tell me like, it's because we are privileged or this, I said, no. It was just a question of, I knew it was an investment. You have to invest. There's no shortcuts. If you have to borrow to learn a skill, please go and borrow. That's one of the biggest investments you can make in learning something. It will yield. And there's a way, when you borrow to do something, I always tell people that even if you don't want to learn the online course, you don't want to open the online course, or you don't want to learn that thing, but because you have to make money from it to pay your debts, that is your motivator to learn. It is your mind. It is your mind. It is your mind. Don't be that person. I don't know anything. I can't do anything. If I had money, I would have taken that online course. If I had, as all those ifs, it's your mind. It's your mind playing tricks on you, and that is why I keep emphasizing. Your last day to be poor, it has to be a day you choose in your mind, and for you to choose that day, ask yourself, what is that thing that is a pain point for you? Is it that they're always sending your child away from school, that they did not pay school fees early? What is your pain point? Use that, paste that thing like this at the back of your phone. When you open, you are saying, Mommy Lagbaja said that my children cannot amount to anything. Or my sister said, be looking at it. Let that thing be driving you. Because that is what will liberate you from poverty. That pain point is what will liberate you from poverty. That's it.
I don't know what to say. It's like, when you have what you call face to face, that's like what you've just done. And I think that while trying to, not just to sound too modest, I think that it's important for us to also get people to realize these things that you're saying, because it's a social reality, it's an everyday thing. You know, the way people carry on the hopes of better, that better concept. I don't think a lot of people have allowed that thing to come to a bus stop where it doesn't seem right to keep on hoping without resolutions, to keep on hoping without defining moments, to keep on hoping without action points. I think it's an abuse of hope itself. You know, I would rather prefer that you are hoping because there's something on ground. That then you know that you are saying you don't want to give up, even when it looks like you should give up. However, there's nothing that is even available to give up. You know, and we need to get as many people to hear this, that there has to be a defining moment. And I love one thing you stressed, um, which is a pain point. You know, a lot of people need to understand that. And I want you to open us up more onto that. Because what about those who are even numb? You know, there are people that don't understand that. It's like, having me to use this illustration. Time is going and they're not even aware. It's like everybody, you know, that kind of thing. So some people are just numb and they hold on to some nice philosophies, but they are not really functional. You know, when you say, well, I can't kill myself. Well, there's an understanding when you say you can't kill yourself. In other words, you wouldn't want to break the bank. You wouldn't want to stress yourself. Do you get my point? However, should you actually be indifferent to the fact that there's a possibility out there that probably even has your name tag on it? Please open us up to that pain point, because let people know what it is to say pain point. And if people are not the ones triggering that pain point, how can you have a healthy, because I know it's also a thin line where some people now begin to beat themselves up and then begin to get into depression. How can you create a healthy mechanism to trigger pain points for your own growth?
You know, there is something I said, if you don't come and abuse me to trigger pain points, I go to places that what I see will trigger my pain points. You know what I mean? Like when you go and price a car, you know, I go and price a tear rubber now. I don't get it. Don't you like life? Go to a car shop. Like nobody is triggering you. There's no pain point. But go to a place of your imagination. Go there. Go and see what they're using money to do. I always say, but see, only you. Eh? You will sit down and come back and be saying, people are making healthy money to buy this kind of things. You know, when you are able to picture the kind of life you want to live, the kind of things you need to use money for, that is a pain point. Because nobody abused you. Nobody said your car is rickety. Nobody said anything. But because you are going to a place, and it's in the same way when you are trying, you know, I think I said it before on this show, that when it is time to reflect, when you are being ungrateful on the other side, I say, go to Igbobi, go and see people down the bed. I always say, I go to places, I go to environments, I immerse myself in places that when I need to have a reality check, whether it is in a positive way or negative way, if I'm becoming too very ungrateful in my actions, I visit an hospital. And when I'm becoming too complacent, I hang out in places. And that is when I would say, me and my friends should go for a buffet. Yeah, it's maybe Sheraton or something. When you go to those kind of places, you'll be thinking, people come here every day for lunch. Do you understand? Because I'm not like all this small change, 5,000 that you're getting is beginning to, you know, you're becoming complacent. That is one of the, as in, you can create an environment of pain points for yourself for reflection. And this is not so that, and that is why I had to illustrate both sides, that, you know, visit this thing when you're becoming ungrateful and visit places that will motivate you. That's one. Number two, keep a circle of people that are movers. that are movers. People that when you're mentioning money, they be like, as in, money is not someone that you say, oh, come and let's drop this time. Person be like, but wait, that 5,000 naira is, something, 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 something. Keep a circle of people. And if you are trying to build impact too, in terms of, because poverty may not be poverty of money. Some people are very poor when it comes to, as in their what they have inside them apart from finances. Keep a circle of people you want to be like, whether it is in their terms of financial, like money, or maybe the kind of wealth you want to build is the wealth of your personality. Keep a circle of people who already have it in abundance. Keep a circle of people, because I've discovered that at the end of the day, your mentality towards money is what makes money gravitate towards you. And this is not all this bullshit of aspire, like as if you imagine money comes to you. The law around that, as in keeping that thing, is the fact that because your brain is already telling you that, you need to buy that car. Your brain, like it is a scientific thing, it is not this thing. Your brain, there's a section of your brain that will also activate and start getting you worked up on how that kind of money will materialize. So it is not it is not aspire to, it is a scientific backing. There's a side of your brain that will be working towards, as in making you get there to be able to achieve that thing. And all the things you didn't used to see before as money possibilities in your environment, you start to see it. That's when you start to say, I can start washing cotton in my environment too, as people need people to wash their cotton. Because why? Your brain has already activated that you need to be able to buy that 30 million naira car. So it starts to give you ways on how to make money. Everywhere you see, you'll be seeing opportunity. Because you are looking for ways to make money. And I'm not even joking. Like this Dubai stuff that I'm supposed to go for the SDG Global Goals Week. Before now, didn't I know I needed a business card? Right? As in to do like a business card that had a QR code, because obviously that is what is in, right? I knew, but maybe because the environment was not just presenting itself where I was going to say, okay, but the moment the thing materialized, my brain started to activate towards the 1,000,001 things that I could get from that thing, as in terms of opportunities, as in terms of maximizing it. That was when I started to say, okay, so I had to call my printer, please print this for me, please do that for me. It was my brain working because the environment had presented itself. And that is the same way money works. That's the same way it works. It will gravitate towards you because that's activated what it needs it for. So if you keep keeping a circle of being in places or environments that will not help you activate that side of your brain will be complacent. It will just say, don't let me overwork it. It doesn't need it. So, and you said something about in an healthy way so that people don't get depressed. The kind of, when you are setting goals for yourself, it means you are the determinant of what you are setting and not the environment. Nobody is setting the goal for you. So it means you only want to beat yourself. So because I know I want to beat myself, I did last year, I trained this, maybe, and then I said, whatever I teach you are trying to build, it may not necessarily be in terms of naira and kobo. I did this, I did that. So if I want to beat myself, that means I'm in a competition with myself. So person who no go enter my high. Do you understand? Like it would not, I'm in a good place. Let me put it that way, because I'm only competing with myself. I'm in a good place. So let's even assume I don't miss that thing. Trust me, it's more like, okay, did I execute? Did I do what I was supposed to do? Yes. Then I'm looking for ways to improve on it. Not that, but when you set goals, that is maybe, this person got 1 million from, or $1 million from getting 100 students on his course. When you're in the competition with that person, the moment you don't meet it, you get into the depression mode, because that was not for you. You are only trying to look at your neighbor to set a goal. So be very clear on the kind of, when you finish setting your own goal, then you now go and immerse yourself secret to people's success lies in their daily habits. So go and ask yourself when he wakes up, as in if you can align yourself to stay, I'm spending 1 week with the person. Let me help you carry your bag to the office. That is where your secret, that is where that person's secret is. See their routine. It is in the routines that you are able to build the kind of person that is able to build success. Look at the routines of a successful person, not in what they come and tell you in this thing. And that's why I always keeps hammering it that me, I pay for people's courses or people's things, not because I want to get there, maybe the knowledge sometimes. I paid for one last night, in the middle of last night. I don't even need the course. I don't need the content of the course. I paid to look at the processes. Do you understand? Because it is in the things the person does repeatedly, the processes that I'm able to see, oh, this is what they are doing to build the wealth. So that would be like your practical steps into not entering depression, and your practical steps to also say to yourself that I'm not going to be poor. Be reflective. Immerse yourself in people's environments that are doing what you want to do.
Thank you so much. And while you were speaking, Olushola Olumide joined us.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, good morning, Dr. Derin. Good morning. Coach Rotimi, good morning. Yeah, nice to be here once again. And good morning to our tribe members out there. Yeah.
Fantastic. So we're talking about the last day to be poor. And I'd like to hear your take on that. We've talked about financial literacy for a while. And we are getting to that point where we need people to understand
that topic. That topic is a funny one. But I tell you, the last day to be poor is dependent on individual decision. My last day will not be your last day. Your last day will not be another person's last day. Like I had Dr. Derin talking, what we do with our daily life culminates into the outcome. People don't just fail suddenly. It is an accumulation of a little failure that eventually becomes so big and it's obvious. Also, people don't just succeed. In fact, one of the things that have been rushing to my mind this morning, and then it then occurred to me that it's possible, it's good, it's not all too bad to fail, provided you are learning lesson from your failure and provided you are failing forward. The word poor, I have labeled it, like somebody said, it is passing over opportunity repeatedly. P-O-O-R, passing over opportunity repeatedly. That is what makes people poor. And there's some people's last day to be poor may never come until they enter into the grave. And that's why it is often said that the richest entity or the wealthiest entity is the graveyard. Because it swallows people's potential, not because it wants to, but people themselves, why alive? They didn't do what they need to do. And if you don't die empty, if you don't release all you are meant to release, so that by the time you enter your grave, it's only your empty body, empty brain, empty mind that enters the brain, that person probably will have died being poor. It's a decision everybody has to take. Of course, we have physical poverty, we have financial poverty, we have mental poverty. Of course, we have social poverty too. It spreads across. So we look at it across the spectrum, then you look at it and say, in what area am I poor? And I need to really show it up, engage more, be rich in that. It is said that some people are so poor that the only thing they have is money. That means that person can be rich financially, but it lacks human relation. That person lacks social competencies. So it is in different aspects of life. So, but we need to look at it. The day you decide, I think I need to improve on this part of my life. I think the way things are shouldn't continue. I think you are getting over that poverty as far as that area is concerned. So today it will be determined by I. Here is the place of divinity. However, God himself didn't impose things on us. He allows us to make our decision, of course, live with the consequences too. If he needs to come in at all, he intervenes. And I've said it time with that number, God doesn't even raise irresponsible children. If you just sit down somewhere, put your hand on the other arm, cross your leg, and expecting manna to fall, I'm not sure that is going to happen in this time and age. So what we do with our every seconds to minute to hours into days, we culminate. Before we know it, today is 14 already. So even the year 2022 is moving forward. And if you have not done anything since the year started and you are waiting there, where the year is still new, the year may not necessarily be new. Because what you are doing now, the outcome may not come on the next 3, 4, 5, 6 months. The application you need to make now, the strategy section you need to have now, whatever you need to sow and put in the soil may not bear fruit in the next until the next 9 months. So if you fail to plant now, that means you are behind schedule. And you know, there are times and seasons in life when you are supposed to plant so that rain can come upon it. If you don't plant, the multiplier effect will be bigger. In fact, you will be shocked to see, is it the little ineptitude, unseriousness that accumulated into this? The answer is yes. You know, at times you see students and say, no, this one will not come out in the exam. As if they are the one that said the exam. If they look at another topic and say, no, this one will not come out. And you know, they keep fooling themselves right there on the table where they are supposed to be reading their books. By the time that thing comes out in the exam, you know the difference between, I have seen somebody graduated with 3.48, 3.49. Yes, the grade may not determine the person, but you will discover that that's why they call it CGPA, cumulative grade point average. So it is not what you do in the final year. It is the cumulation from 100 level. Tutorials you refuse to attend, assessment you refuse to do, the test you refuse to write, and at the end of the day, the exam is only 60 or 70, while the other one is 30. So if we don't do the little things right, they will merge together, they become big things that will affect our life. So the day you decide is the day your poverty ends. So it is left for me to decide, it is left for you to decide. That day is in our hand, so to say. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. From what you've said, from what I've said, from what Derry has said, a lot has to do with decision. A lot has to do with decision. Everyone has to come to that point where it's not just listening. They have to decide. And in a way, it's difficult to say that someone will decide for you. You have to do the decision making yourself. And maybe the question will now be, how do we help the people who actually are undecided or are not just able to come to the place of making that decision? I'd like to ask Darren, what do we do in such situation?
I think for people that are unable to make a decision, first we need to, because I've been in spaces where people are like, I can't deal with people who are very indecisive. Like that is, it's not like it gets to me. Because I would say, even if you are going to fail, at least decide. The biggest failure at all in life is not trying. You can decide that I don't, like I say, it is okay to decide that, oh, I don't want to build wealth. But decide, make sure you are actually deciding it and you're not letting it happen to you. It is when you don't decide that I have a problem with. Some people say, oh, I just want to be that person who is earning 50,000 from teaching. I don't want It is okay. It is your decision, but at least you set something for yourself. So one of the people, and even in the holy books, as in people that don't make decision, as in God frowns at it. You can't be that person who is always afraid of making decision. And what makes you afraid is because you don't want to own up to it. Most of the people that I see deciding are people that they don't want to take responsibility for their decisions.
Yeah.
More like, once you be like, so what should we now do? I think maybe we should let's invest this 100,000 in this buying cost. I don't know about you people. So the moment if that thing fails, like, but me, I did not put my hand in it. And if it succeeds too, you'll be like, okay, it's your decision. So it is from a place of fear, of not wanting to take responsibility for the outcome of your decision. It is from a place of fear. But fear is not what you should let cripple your entire life. Everybody does it, as in, we do it afraid. You think, as in, even the biggest speakers, as in, you think, as in, some of us, we come here online every day and we come and open our mouth and everything. We are still afraid of what if I sound stupid? What if I'm not making sense? But I decide that I'm going to come anyway. You have to decide, you have to choose. It is from a place of fear. Don't let fear cripple you. Don't let fear cripple you. So if you are that person that you're still trying, I'm trying to decide if I should, write that book to start building wealth. I might just choose to build your wealth in the educational sector. Or I'm yet to decide. I'm afraid that if I put my money into shares will fall. You are afraid of everything. Oh, I heard Agric investment is now raining, but I also heard that one rice, they didn't give them returns on investment. Fear will cripple you. And you end up doing nothing. Nothing. And when you do nothing, you yield nothing. You just say day in, day out, you are the same. I would say you are better off taking a decision that leads to failure, because you would have learned. It's a learning curve. You would have learned than not making a decision at all. Make a decision. I always tell people the very first time I launched a digital product, an online course, I used 6 months. I used first 3 months to learn from General. And if you know me, I'm very intense. So if I say I used 3 months to learn something and immerse myself, trust me, somebody else would have probably used 1 year. I used 3 months to learn. I used another 3 months to plan the launch and execute. I was not sleeping. And Pam, I launched in June, not even one sale. Guess what? I went back to my drawing board. And I spent money. Like, it's not like I didn't. I spent money. But I was able to own it, that I decided to do this thing. It was my decision, not that someone should now tell me at the beginning, which I had. I had all those stuff at the beginning. So they say, so you mean you want to use $800 to first learn how to do this thing? You want to pay this thing? How about if it does not work? How about if people do not buy? That is fear talking. It is just fear. And people did not buy it, but I know I made a decision anyway. That what if people buy? And what I now did is I identified the faults, the cracks, the fact that I had no automation in my processes. I was having to send email one by one to prospective people. So I re-strategized. And just like what Mr. Lushala said, the dividends, I think between maybe July of 2020 and 2021 March, I used maybe 6, 7, 8 months to re-strategize and build and fix the things I know went wrong on the first launch. And I did a second launch. I was of a different product now, because this is one of the things I realized as a then. What I was launching as an online course was best suited as a coaching program, because it was a life. It was out, I built that course for multiple potential, like people that have diverse interests, how should be able to balance their life. I discovered the framework was best suited for something that will coach somebody through the life, not an online course. And guess what? Then, even if it failed then, people have come back to meet me, to pay me money, to coach them on how to balance their interest. As in, I think there was sometime this week, I was running a BMI tribe. I made merch, I made shirts. Like, you can imagine making shirts for a launch. That is what BMI means, balancing multiple interest tribe. But it was my decision. I made it, I failed in quote, or the decision did not yield the result. But I reevaluated. don't let fear that even if you like fail, you will know you made a decision, but it's failed and you learned from it and you moved on from it. One of the people that I would say I can pity most in life are people that are afraid of making decisions, so they will not own up to its failure or success. If you cannot own up to failure, you will not be able to own up to success too. That's just the way it works. Fear is your major problem.
Wow, thank you so much. And I know that Olusola Lumide has also mentioned something in this respect, especially when it comes to fear, not just fear, but basically talking about the mind. I know that a lot of people are ready at the lowest ebb of their mind. I don't know if Olusola would like to add one or two things to that.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Derry. Sorry, there is a noise where I am. I will pick up from the BMI. If you cannot remember what Dr. Derry just said, remember that BMI is also body mass index. Find out if your potential is making you to become obese, so that they can help you streamline it. Yes, when I have BMI, I laugh. And you know, some people say potential is making them obese already. So go and get your BMI. Call Dr. to check your BMI. Yes. Who doesn't get afraid anyway? For those who are come to say, oh, want you to do this, do that, especially with regard to public speaking, I say, I get afraid. But I lose my fear within the first 60 seconds. And you know, this is what I had to do over and over, especially when I was on campus. It doesn't because I don't get afraid. I get afraid. I only put my fear inside me and see open my mouth and say what I needed to say. And along the line, I started getting great feedbacks. Of course, at times the feedbacks are not so good also, but I keep going on. That's why I can stand before 1,000 people and still begin to talk and whatever. So who doesn't get afraid? In any case, don't let your fear paralyze you, but that would be worse. Indecision is a decision anyway. Only that the offspring it will birth will not be too good. Decide and share it that this is my decision. This is what I'm even in the process. And the DQ, that is decision quotient, is a skill. I think a lot of people also need to learn and know that life, you can't play two in life. It's either you are progressing or you are retrogressing. It's a matter of time. So if you don't decide, indecision is a form of decision. So decide and face what you need to face. Face the challenge. Your fear is even afraid of you. So it's only waiting for you to take action, take step. And of course, that doesn't mean you should get involved in risky behaviors. It doesn't mean you have to be, we are not suggesting foolishness. Yes, no. We are talking of make your mistakes, learn from your mistake, and press on. That is life. The veterans we look at today, the go-to people today, let them sit down and tell you how many failures they have encountered that eventually brought them knowing what not to do and how to do it well. So that's why I will tell educators out there, you want to make a move this year, sit back, have I show up my expertise and skill? The tool of negotiation is in my hand. Yes, you miss your steps once in a while, but don't sit on the floor. Rise up, keep going, keep moving, and doing what you need to do. So that is what I will tell our people out there. Please keep moving. If you cannot fly, run. If you cannot run, walk. If you cannot walk, crawl. But by all means, keep moving. The world is not waiting. Time is not waiting. And of course, except we suspend everything in the world, to wait for you the day you wake up and decide, but that will never happen. So it's in your best interest to decide and make progress. And it's in your hand. Other people are only coming to be a supporter. You are the major stakeholder in the project of your life. If you don't take it serious, no other person will take you serious. So please, we can stop the poverty. And as soon as we decide, I think that poverty will stop. Like Dr. Derin also said, some people are just contented with what they have. You are the layback type. I don't want to get involved with this. I don't want to get disturbed. I like my comfort zone. It's a decision too. Only that it will give you what you have desired. Ask rich people, ask successful people. It's a serious work. Responsibility. Achievement comes from responsibility. Thank you very much.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Dr. Derin, your last words or parting shots as we end the show today.
So I would say, if you are not going to build wealth for yourself as an educator, I say, don't do a disservice to the world. Don't do a disservice to your family. Because when people ask me what drives me, I said, do you know the number of people that when I make money, I can touch their lives? Do you know the number of, I want to be able to say, I said, hey, when people are asking, who are the people you are looking forward to in this year training this? I said, do you see TEF? Do you see Tony Elumelu? Do you see his partners? He had been doing TEF alone as this thing before he got he signed that deal with this thing. Was it last year or 2 years ago before COVID? 2 years ago, now we're in 2022. They now gave him that 10-year money for 10 years to do the program. 10 years before he signed that deal. I said, I want to be able to get to that point. I'm saying, 400,000 people are applying for this thing. We are training 20,000 in a year, or we are training 50, in a session of a round. Don't be that person. Don't be selfish and say the money 50,000 naira you are making is enough. It is not enough because you cannot serve humanity with 50,000 naira. Don't be selfish. Okay, that is what I always tell people. If you don't want to do it for yourself, I don't really care. But think about the things you can change in life if you are wealthy. So go and build wealth so you can do it for the world. Your mediocrity does not serve anybody.
So there you have it. It's a wake-up call. Whichever level you are at, let it be the last day to be poor. Let it be the last day to be selfish. Let it be the last day to be anything that is negative or not allowing you to be the best that you can be. Let it be the last day to be self-centered. Let it be the last day to be egocentric. In fact, one of a friend of mine said that ego is a sign of poverty. When you are poor, you have ego. By the time you have moved over to a particular level, you don't have ego. You are willing to ask for help. You're willing to, support and also be supported. So I believe we've learned a lot today. And those who catch the replay, please make sure you share the video, like the video, tell others about the video, and also about the Good Morning Education Show. Subscribe to our channel. Follow Aderinsola Adekoju. Follow Olushola Olumide. Follow all our tribe members. Our guests and analysts on the show. KK, Rhoda. Follow Patron Georgie. Follow Judah Shedu. Follow everyone really pretty much on the show. And I believe that we'll have a great time. So we'll be saying our goodbyes this morning. And we wish you guys a great weekend ahead. And at the count of 2, we're going to say our greetings. 1, 2, go. It's always
a great morning
on the Good Morning Education Show. Bye, everyone.